Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the moon conjunct Mars, synastry. Now, first off, the unconscious side in the inner personality, which is connected with the moon person, and what drives and motivates the Mars person can be in sync and strongly integrated. Um, the moon person may have an unconscious could be a sexual attraction toward the Mars person. If this conjunction say is in Gemini, it could be maybe there's something about the witty side of somebody where you have this attraction, cerebral side, unconscious side, somebody that's very versatile, loquacious. um, if it's an Aquarius, it could be connected with, maybe there's an eccentric, side, maybe of the Mars person that attracts the Moon individual. Most cases you're going to have the conjunction in the same sign. Now, in some cases, you'll have an out of sign conjunction. Now, the thing is, you would, in those instances, you might still have a very, intense connection with the person, but you gotta factor in, their different signs that would be involved, and the moon energy wouldn't be the same as the Mars energy, but you could still have a very intense connection. Now, this is not, all rosy. That these aspects. I mean, conjunctions are neutral aspects, so they can have good and bad qualities. In my head, at least, what I can remember, one connection was somebody that had their Mars at least in loose conjunction to my moon. And this aspect can be somewhat contentious. This could the Mars person may cause angry emotions for, to the moon person. They might cause that moon person to become emotionally upset because remember Mars is about anger, it's agitation. The moon is our emotions. Uh, the thing about this too is that Mars is also, the planet connected with independence, or a planet connected with independence, I should say. Self-reliance. The Moon can be somewhat dependent and clingy, and the thing is, the Moon person may be, a little bit clingy, a little bit dependent on the Mars person, and it might cause exasperation for that reason. Now, another thing is that you may have, the Moon person, may really care about what the Mars person expends their energy on. And it may also be that the Moon person may care if the Mars person is overexerting his or herself or expending too much energy in general on things, and may let the Mars person know at times, to take it easy. You're doing too much. There's too much. You're involved doing too many activities, and so on and so forth. And the thing about this is too, as far as this synastry aspect goes, that the Mars person, the activities that he or she is involved in can match, what the Moon person, their emotional needs. But more, I mean, if it's in the same sign, that's when that would apply. Um, the thing about this too is that the Mars person at times, this ties into what I was saying before about the Mars person being a little acerbic in this connection. The Mars person, they need to watch a lack of tact and diplomacy toward the Moon person, because the Moon person may respond in a an emotional, irrational, very sensitive manner. And even if the Mars person may think that he or she just be constructive toward the Moon person still may wind up becoming agitated at the lack of tact and diplomacy on the Mars individual's part. And another thing too is that the you know when you have this aspect in synastry, again, it ties in what I was saying before. You can have some acrimonious disputes. Um, the Mars, person may be the one that, may be initiating a lot of it, because Mars, again, is that planet connected with anger, it's connected with initiative. Um, and, Mars person they, on the positive side, though, the Mars person may bring, some and that energy and activity into the Moon person's home life. And the thing is, as I've stated, in previous my natal chart videos, and it applies to synastry charts as well, is that you never isolate any single one astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person astrologically speaking based on that alone, because the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. And that applies to synastry as well. One synastry aspect, doesn't, make or break a connection, and and the Moon conjunct Mars in synastry is certainly no exception. In most synastry charts, you're going to have a plethora of aspects between person A and person B. Now, this aspect can be neutral, but it can, show, certain acerbic, activity, where you can have, the Mars, person, may instigate some issues with the Moon person, and causing, those, irrational reactions by the Moon person. But at the same, but when you have, let's say that you have, you could have other aspects in the chart that can offset this to some degree. Now, let's say in synastry you have the Moon conjunct Mars, right? But let's say in that synastry, between the two people, there's a, there's a Venus, maybe Venus, sextile or trine the other person's ascendant or sun, and that could show more benign, more, where that could be, certain peaceful connection, where the Venus person is really, feels, at peace, or, toward, say if it's Venus sextile trine the ascendant, the Venus person may love and enjoy that, the ascendant person's outer demeanor, and, the qualities they naturally express. And if you have the Venus sextile or trine the Sun in synastry, the Venus person may really enjoy and be enamored with the Sun person's inner, their true self, and that could indicate a more, connection involving a more peaceful and tranquil connection. So you have to, look at the whole, look at all the synastry aspects when you're, basically when you're looking at, synastry charts, and don't isolate one and make, and think, oh, either it's all gloom and doom, or this is a match made in heaven, because you have to look at everything in synastry when you're evaluating, the compatibility between person A and person B. And another thing about the Moon conjunct Mars and synastry I wanted to add is that, the Mars person may, inspire the Moon person, and give them, that drive and motivation to do, home or family related things, or even if it's just making a move to a different place, and give that person the motivation and drive, the incentive to do what needs to be done in those matters. If the Moon person has the Moon in Gemini, he or she may have a mercurial home situation and going from one place to another, and the Mars person may, get with the Moon person and say you need to do something and try to find some stable place, and be very direct regarding it, as an example. But anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.